Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1122A, and today's date is November 8th, 2016, and the title of the episode is The Financial Nightmare Begins After the Election. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, today on Election Day, we see the stock market up. Yesterday, we saw the market was up by 300 points. They wanted to get that market over 18,000 to make the economy look really great. And we can see that this whole entire illusion that we're in is created to convince everyone that the economy is doing well, that we need to keep the establishment running the economy, and there's nothing wrong. But we've been looking at so many different economic indicators, and let me just say, there are so many of them pointing to a complete recession/depression into a major collapse. And there are major financial pundits, there are major financial individuals who are continually saying that this system right now, it is completely falling apart. And at everything that we looked at and everything that we dive into and we rip apart what the government is telling us, we see that the entire system is ready to implode. And we can see right now that the labor market is ready to roll over. Hiring is below 2014 levels, and there are more and more job openings out there. And I explained what these job openings are, where a lot of companies, what they do is they keep the jobs open. They make it seem like they're going to be hiring. And then they put all these requirements into what the job is. And most of the people can't even fit into these jobs because it's completely impossible. And what we're seeing right now is that the entire labor market, where all the people that have fallen off, where we have all the manipulated unemployment numbers, well, it is completely rolling over. And this is despite near record number of job openings. The pace of hiring has failed to keep up with the number of job openings that we are seeing today. And we can see right now that this is done on purpose. This is part of the illusion that the economy is doing fine. Because what the government central bankers do, they instruct the corporations to continually put out job openings, make the requirements very, very difficult, and never fill the jobs. This is what we've been seeing. And actually, right after 2008, 2009, 2010, we saw the same thing. There were a lot of job openings, but nobody was hiring. Going throughout this entire recovery, as the government calls it, we've seen the same thing. A lot of job openings, but not a lot of companies hiring. And if we look back to a year ago, we can see hirings right now are down by 1%. And what's more interesting than that is that if we look at payrolls and we look at job hires, well, guess what? They're both declining. When did we see this once before? Well, we saw this back in 2008, where all of a sudden payrolls started to decline, job hiring starting to decline, and we went into free fall. And the whole thing just kept on tumbling and tumbling down nonstop. And this is what we're seeing once again. We're actually following the same exact pattern. We see right now that student loans, auto loans, they have hit an all-time new high of $2.5 trillion. We see consumer credit has jumped by $19 billion. And of course, we expect this to happen because the central bankers, their job is to blow up bubbles. Their job is to create more debt. And this is what they've been doing. And we can see right now that revolving debt is increasing. But when we look at this very closely, when we look at consumer debt, we see that the government is responsible for most of it. That's the primary source of this debt. When we look at student loans and auto loans, well, they just continually move up and up and up. And this is exactly what the central bankers want because they deal in debt. And we can see from everything that we've been looking at, when we look at all these economic indicators and we put them all together and we create this picture, we can see that we are doing the same thing that we've done back in 2008. But this time, the indicators are the same as 2008 or much worse. And in many cases, they are so bad that we are not in a recession. We're teetering on a complete depression collapse scenario. And we can see that the entire economy was held together to create this illusion for the elections, to create the illusion that everything is fine, because we know what they're going to plan out here. We know that after the elections, when everything's all said and done, this economy is going to come tumbling down. Now, is it going to be the next day or the day after that? No, most likely not. I think what they're going to do, once they have their candidate, depending on who it is, if it's Trump, I believe they're going to bring it down quickly to say this is the reason why it's happening, because he is going to become president and all of a sudden the economy just drops down. We enter war. He has to deal with all of this if he makes it through all of this. If it's Hillary Clinton, I think they're going to wait until after January, most likely in the spring, where they'll probably start to bring everything down, everything to start to crash, because they will not be able to hold this together. And we can see right now that this will all be blamed most likely on Russia, because we see they're pointing their fingers at Russia at this point for cyber attacking, which they have no proof. This is all complete propaganda. This is fitting into their entire false flag narrative. But we can see right now that once these elections are over and there's the change of the guard, depending on who it is, it's go time. They're ready to bring the economy down. They're ready to blame another party for what has happened. And we can see it's very easy for them to say, listen, we're bringing in a new president. Look what happened. You know, Russia, North Korea, China, whatever. They hit the United States with some type of cyber attack, and they hit the financial institutions. They brought the economy down. The economy was doing fine. And they did this at a point where there was a changing of the guards. And we can see right now, they will eventually do this because there is no way out of this. The economy is imploding on itself, and it's deteriorating very, very quickly, where they'll have no choice but to bring it down. And they're just waiting for right after the elections. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.